Friday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Oil Stream here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Thanks for tuning in on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, for those tuning in on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, directly on our website, watching on YouTube, and to those listening to this podcast in the future, thank you as well.
I like how you've added this.
It's why the podcast people, where do they get the love? They're tuning in. There's a lot, especially the Oil Stream. This is a top podcast. This is a very good podcasted show.
Is it actually?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you look at those.
awesome.
It's got one of those, a lot of listens. People come back. When it's not up, I'm sure he's listening right now from out in Toronto, Jerry. He messages me always. It's it's up. And he's very polite about it too.
Nice.
He goes I'm very sorry to bother you, but the Oil Stream isn't up on podcast right now. And so then I look into it, and I usually accidentally, apologies, Jerry, too. Don't get back to him right away.
That was very polite of you right now.
But it's very listened to. So for those people, they never get the love, and I want to give the podcasters a love. Some say we're just a podcast.
That would be misinformed.
But we do have podcasts,
Absolutely.
just like we
used to
at 1260 and stuff. So I want to throw some love their way. So we love the live listeners. We love those listening, watching later on the rewatch. And we love those listening on the podcast.
We love our entire audience.
Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here. Zach to come behind the camera right now with you before he gets a week off next week, going to Vancouver for a concert. A bit to get to. It's almost the end of summer here. And we're getting closer to training camp, which is wild to think. But we do have to start the Oil Stream on unfortunate news. And it's a sad day in the hockey world. It's a sad day for everyone as Johnny Gaudreau and his brother passing away, being hit by a drunk driver while they were on their bikes.
Yeah.
Just absolutely a horrible story. It's never good when anyone passes. But you add on the fact that him and his brother, where they were for their sister's wedding.
Yeah.
And the whole family's getting together for, everybody's been to weddings. We all know how joyous they are. They're exciting they are. You get the family together. It's great. You're going to absolutely. You're about to celebrate the love of two people. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, these two, they passed away in just a horrific incident. Yeah. Once again, another reminder, we shouldn't need these, but please do not drink and drive. Ubers are easy. Taxis are easy. But just awful news for the Gaudreau family and the passing of Johnny and Matt. Yeah.
And, there were rumors last night. We talked about this a lot on the morning show. And these are situations you want to handle as appropriately as possible. And we're waiting for details and information to come down. And of course, we got that this morning. But last night, Matty, you're seeing people put out reports and saying, Johnny Gaudreau had passed away, and it's horrific. And people are texting me saying, "Is this true? Is this true?" I don't know. I didn't. And you're looking for reputable sources. And last night there were no insiders, no media people saying this has happened. There were people friends of friends kind of putting stuff out there, and unfortunately they were correct. And you want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt when they're providing information, but you need it from the source. And that's why I saw, and that, you saw some people reacting, being like, where's so-and-so on this? Where's the insider? Where's TSN on? You have to wait for the information. You need to know, the police need to put it out there. The family next of kin needs to know.
It's one of those, I remember when Pat Burns was declared dead by Damien Cox, and he had to call Bob McKenzie to say, no, I'm not dead.
Yes.
I remember hearing Bob McKenzie on that going, I don't want to be the first on that story. I don't want to report this story.
Yes.
Why would I rush to go post? For one, if you're posting about someone passing, you want to be right, not first.
Correct.
And number two, why do you need to be the first one posted out there? Mm-hmm. Let it come from, in this case, officially it came from the National Hockey League. And the Blue Jackets can put it out there. There's times where the families aren't notified. They need to get all that. And just, why do we don't need to rush to that, because it's awful news.
Yeah.
You don't, no one's going to go sit there and be like, you got this one right first. Congratulations. No one's going to do that. We're not happy about that. No one wants this news.
Exactly.
So just let it be.
Yeah.
And part of it's when you get that, and to one of them, he didn't even fully know. He's like, I hope I'm wrong. Well, if you're not 100% sure and you're saying, I hope you're wrong, then you don't know for sure.
Right.
And don't put that out there.
Right.
For those that don't know the story, though, today, so Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, they were biking. According to police, they were cycling a road when a man driving in the same direction attempted to pass 2 other vehicles, struck them from behind, and they were pronounced dead at the scene. I thought he was like a 42-year-old or something like that.
They did provide the name.
I've got the name. Sean Higgins, suspected of being under the influence of alcohol, charged with 2 counts of death by auto and jailed at a correctional facility in the New Jersey area. But just, yeah.
Absolutely horrific, heartbreaking news. It doesn't matter if you loved Johnny Gaudreau as a player or hated him as an opponent, or he was a superstar in the National Hockey League. If you're an Oiler fan and you hated what he did to the Oilers, all of that is washed away today.
Well, you hate him as a player, which was a good thing for him. Like that's because he was such a good player.
Exactly.
He was such a good player that you hated to play against him because he was going to do some good things against you.
He's a superstar.
Absolutely.
This is devastating. And him and his brother passing. Absolutely horrific. Our hearts, condolences go out to them. I said it on the morning show numerous times. We talked about it a lot on the morning show. And this is awful. And the outpouring of support from all over the sporting world has been something to behold. But at the end of the day, is tragic.
Why the family did put out a statement today, and then it was like they've lost brother, nephews, uncle, like just all sorts of different things. But it's just the parents. I'm just thinking is, again, you're getting set to celebrate your daughter's wedding, and you just lost 2 sons, right? Like, and for the sis, you just lost both your brothers, and it's just it goes from a weekend of such joy to such devastation.
Yeah,
and it's just going to be tough for that family to carry forward and. All the best to the Gaudreau family in this dark time for them.
Absolutely. Awful.
Once again, don't drink and drive, people. Yeah. Don't drink and drive. There is a lot of ways to get home. No easy way to transition.
No easy way. And save the vitriol. You know, everybody gets emotional about things. Save it. And then just, you want to think about the family and don't get mad if somebody didn't post something right away or, you know what I mean? Like, I saw a lot of that today, even in our inbox, where I was like, just relax. Let's take a minute to decompress here and get this right.
It's not always easy to talk about death, just straight up. I'll throw that. It's not always comfortable.
Doing news was hard because I had to anchor news for a couple of years. And listen, I'm not comparing it to, I'm just saying, like, you would talk about death, destruction, people and having a tough time. And it'd be like, oh my God, what did I talk about today? It was all tough.
In my family growing up, my dad and I always watched the news kind of. My mom and brother didn't because they're like, this is depressing.
It is.
The news people especially, like, you got to deal with, like, if you're covering news in New Jersey, you got to go try to talk to someone with the family, and you're attempting that because that's the job.
Yeah.
And it's awful, and you got to be the one that's kind of there. I'm like, would somebody be willing to talk or something like that? Oilers forward Derek Ryan, he's posted a statement on former teammate Johnny Gaudreau. This is from Daniel Nugent-Bowman, quote, "I'll always remember and cherish the years I got to play with Johnny in Calgary and with Team USA. His ability on the ice was amazing to behold, and I know that he's inspired innumerable small, undersized hockey players to strive for greatness. I feel horrible for Meredith, his 2 young children, and the entire Gaudreau family. Life just isn't fair sometimes. In my mind, Johnny Hockey's looking down on his family now wearing a pair of heavenly hockey skates. The legend of Johnny Hockey will never be forgotten." That is Oilers forward Derek Ryan on former teammate Johnny Gaudreau.
Yeah. I just got a text from a buddy of mine said that he's sick to his stomach. One of my buddies I played with, his best friends with him, was his best man at his wedding. And the wedding was last weekend. And Johnny was his best man. So, yeah.
It's not easy.
Not easy, man.
I forgot they had 2 children to a degree there. Like,
very young family. I said he was in the prime of his hockey career, but Joaquin and I were talking going into the prime of his life because, you know, in the hockey world, he was long in the tooth or getting there, but in life, so much runway ahead of him, or should have been. And
2 years younger than me.
Yeah, and this was obviously clearly unforeseen and absolutely horrific. So I feel for the family too, right? Like his wife and kids.
Everyone.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely horrific. Like I said, though, no easy way to move on, but we will attempt to do that here on the Oil Stream, which is presented by Boston Pizza. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola, with you here as next time there's an Oil Stream, Tommy, which is next Wednesday. You know what that means?
Rankings of importance?
Well, there's that. It's the month of preseason hockey.
Oh, yeah.
Feels like yesterday.
Only 8
You were
preseason
on
games.
our amenities floor patio at our condo, getting set for Game 7, and then having to rush inside because the post game didn't work properly in there.
Yeah.
You did it from
Connection
inside.
was wonky.
But it's been 2 months and 6 days.
You said that the other day. You're like, we just passed the 2-month mark from the last Oiler game. And I'm like, no wonder I don't need an Oilers practice or game anytime soon.
We're used to them being done in April, and 2 months gets us to the draft, basically. And then we still have the entire summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Here, 2 months is gone, and we're coming into the preseason month.
Yeah.
Training, like, is this
8 preseason?
When would rookie camp be?
Well,
like when,
they're on the ice in
Young Stars?
Penticton at the Young Stars Classic, September 13th.
September 13th.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
2 weeks away.
So that's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
There will be hockey with the Edmonton Oilers with their Young Stars before the ESTYs takes place.
Yep.
Like, it's just crazy that this has happened. So it's a good it's a sad thing that the Oilers didn't get the win for while the long season went, but it's also a good thing that you have such a short off season.
Yeah.
Because it meant the Oilers did go far. Also, with everything that happened with the Edmonton Oilers this summer. Just
What happened?
that's
I'm kidding. September.
you got July 1st.
13th. Yeah.
You've
July
got
1st.
Stan Bowman.
Yeah.
You've got the offer sheets. Am I missing anything of the order? The trading away of Ryan McLeod. I forgot that one. That was massive.
You could even throw in the draft. The Oilers trading up into the first round to take Sam O'Reilly from the London Knights.
I forgot about that one.
Right? A lot has happened.
And now it's the weather. We're about to be. I think it was Avery in the Nasty Chat on the Hangout a couple days ago because it was a rainy day, so I wore pants into work. And he's like, the weather's changing because Matt has pants on. Yeah. And he's like, yeah. The flip flops not being worn as much. It's something else. I gotta look at my phone.
Take a look. What do you got? Glue guy.
Oh, Zach. There's a guy for prizing here. Can you just go handle that? Because he's gonna need a couple Mr. Mikes apparently.
Nice.
You'll have to learn how to do this. So will Ree. Yeah. You're gonna have to learn how to get into the survey and where they all are. You're gonna have to. No, for prizing you have to. Prizing, it's a.
That's okay, Jay. You got mad at me for going in for a sticky note.
I didn't get mad at you going into my office for a sticky note. I just asked, why are you going into my office?
Got an email.
You were walking into my office as I was walking on. I was just curious, why are you going into my office?
I'm going to sleep
What
on your
do you
couch.
need from my... Oh, cool. And I would have been like, cool. I'll walk away from that.
No. I got a detailed emails.
You did not.
I'm kidding.
I have not sent a detailed email like that to say, like, don't go in my office. Although I was thinking, I did mention that one day I did want to put a lock on my door. But then I realized that is where the prizing, so I can't do that. Until I move the prizing out of my office, I can't actually lock my door.
Can I tell you something? Joaquin and I were talking about this after the morning show. With everybody coming in, the boys getting ready, Reed's here, Jay's obviously here. It's buzzing like our station at 1260 used to.
It's going to be getting used to for me because I'm used to like 1:30 hitting, and it's myself and Zach here.
Right.
And Zach's working away at, for anyone that's been here, we've got like that reception area, workspace. He sits there. I usually have Seinfeld on the main TV, and I'm in my office with my TV going, and it's just the two of us. And now it's going to be, Zach with Hernan and Gager sitting in here, Jay and Reed getting prepped, me in my office getting work done. Then they're going to take over, and at some point, I'm going to have to leave saying bye to people. It's not going to be a case if I got to lock up. It's, see ya, boys.
Yeah. It's
gonna be fun. It's gonna be that all start like today's the last day. We go off the air at 1:00 with the Oil Stream, and the Oil Stream next time the Oil Stream goes off the air, you're leading into something. You actually have to bolt out of here quickly. Like get the hell out. Hernan and Gager need to step in. They need to get set up.
Great.
That's where we're going to.
pass the studio off. That's how we used to. Remember, like Low Tide would get in and
there'd be the crossover.
JMO would be like, God, okay, and you'd start putting stuff close by the main seat in the old studio, and I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here. And then Tide would come in and we'd talk, and then they'd be like 20 seconds to air, and I could see JMO would always have that pen in his hand, and he'd be like going like this, and I'm like, that's my cue to get the hell out of here.
I'm a pen guy in hand during a show. If I'm about to start the show, like the intro could be playing, if I notice I don't have a pen in my hand, I'll start looking for one and I'll just grab a pen. I don't care what pen. I need a pen in my hand when I'm doing a show. There's just something about always having the pen in my hand. That is a crutch I need. I've even at Sentry, I dropped my Sharpie down and it like went further away from me, and it's like high top chair, so I'd have to go like take my headset off to go grab it. I just grabbed another pen quickly from my backpack because I couldn't go even like 30 minutes without a pen in my hand. It needs to be there.
I respect that.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay.
Whatever puts you at ease on a broadcast, do it.
Zach Holman. Matty is a detailed email guy for a company of 10 people, LOL. Actually, I am. I did send a detailed email yesterday about the scheduling of September. It was probably about 3 paragraphs with also a point form in there.
We're 10 people now? Well,
we are 10.
And then
of full-time staff.
Yeah, and extended.
And then you've got Belzy, you got Murray, Curtis, Stock, you got Cass, you got Jasmine.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Of like
extended.
The part-timers.
Potentially more.
The part-timers, if you will.
Yeah.
But full-time, Monday through Friday, day in, day out, there's 10 of us.
10. When we had 4 full-timers, we got detailed emails from Matthew.
Yeah, except with our email system, and we'll get toilets. Don't worry, we'll talk some hockey.
Oh, we will. Trust me.
It's just I get sidetracked with these things easily. I can't create like a group contact list where I could just put like ESTY and it puts all your emails in there. And when I put in all your emails and I send it, always gives me like, do you want to BCC this email? Like, no, I'm specifically sending these people. I don't care about the BCC. Like, they all know they're getting it. I'm not trying to hide anyone. Stop telling me this. To let me do a group chat or a group thing. Small things annoy Matt Iwanyk. Surprising?
Yes, I'm nodding. If you're only listening on the audio side, yes, that's how it is.
Yeah, but it's going to be fun next week. We got the ESTY afternoons with Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage, starting Tuesday at 1 o'clock. And then we got the Reed Wilkins show with Jay Milne, 3 o'clock starting on a Tuesday as well. I want to get into the ESTYs a little bit. We'll do that a little bit later.
Okay.
But yeah, you've got your rankings of importance for the Edmonton Oilers coming up in the month of September.
That's
you and
homework.
Dusty.
Yep.
Last year, if I recall correctly, 25 players?
25 with an honorable mention.
Which was big last year.
Calvin Pickard.
He was in the honorable mention.
Correct. I had some misses on there, too. I had 1 or 2.
You guys should revisit.
I had Drake Gazzola higher up, and he never played a game.
I completely forgot that the Edmonton Oilers had Drake Gazzola last year. I completely forgot about that.
A lot of people did.
Oh, my God.
Right?
That's right.
I thought.
Are you guys going to go through that with Dusty?
Yeah, we're going to go through it all.
Like, you're going to do a recap one?
Oh, I don't know if we're going to recap.
Well, let's take a look. Which other ones do you think, like... Okay, where did you nail it? Outside of, like, the top ones. And Calvin Pickard. Do you remember?
Man, maybe I still have the file on my computer. I don't know. I thought it was good. And you know what? You're never going to please people.
So, for those that weren't tuned in last year for this,
we've done it a couple
What is
years.
the definition of the rankings of importance?
However
what do you define?
I feel about these players, basically.
But, like, importance to what? Like, to the success of this team or all of that?
Yeah.
Because I will say, I think one of the top spots, like we all know McDavid and Leon are going to be massive. To me, this season's, and I don't want you to spoil everything for here. One of the top guys has to be Darnell Nurse. He needs a big year this year. There's a lot of criticism on him last year.
Yeah.
Some rightfully, some wrongfully. I think a lot of it over time, though, became rightfully. He doesn't have to be a $9.25 million player. I don't know if he's ever going to be a $9.25 million player.
Isn't the joke they're just asking for him to be like a $6 million player?
But isn't that the truth?
I suppose.
Isn't that all you like? You want him to be a solid, number 2, maybe number 3 defenseman in the National Hockey League, showing that that's what he can be. That's what he is.
Yes.
Does that not make everyone like? There is always going to be those people that point. He's not 9.25. He's not 9.25.
We get that. I think that's totally fair.
But do you not just like What I find fascinating is late last year we was talking about you need to get that player to get the most out of Darnell Nurse when it should be reversed. We should be talking about Darnell Nurse getting the most out of players he plays with.
Right.
He needs to get back to being that player. So what do you want to see from Darnell Nurse if he's going to be that player this year?
Well, what needs like to come see back? From him? Let's see what he did last. Like, well, first of all, his playoffs were bad. I've said it many times this week, and I will stand by that, and I think everybody would agree. So Darnell last year, usually he takes a lot of flack regardless, and a lot of it has to do with the contract, and that's something that comes with the territory of being a prominent player, making that much money in this market. His season last year, like in 22-23, when he was under fire, I think he got off to a slower start offensively. He ended up with 43 points 2 seasons ago, but led the team in plus-minus all year until Matthias Ekholm got there. Last year, he finished +3, 10 goals, 22 assists, 32 points. He had a couple of good moments. I remember scoring like an OT winner. He put together some, like he was okay during the season. Obviously, the first 5 weeks of the year, he was bad, just like pretty much everybody on the team when they were 2-9-1. But his game got a little bit better, and it was adequate, right? Like you would look at him on a day-to-day basis, you'd be like, well, yeah, I guess he was all right. Did they win today? Yeah. Was he the reason why? No, not really. Did he hurt them? Not tonight, you know? But then there'd be nights where, he made a bit terrible giveaway, a bad read, puck goes off of his skate. And then I remember a game, they beat Seattle, and I think Gager was working in the post-game show, filling in for Cass. And the goal they gave up, it was like a pass through the middle, or an intended pass through the middle. Darnell half went down, but didn't commit to the block. And it like rattled off his glove, his shin pad, and I think it was Calvin Pickard in that night. And threw his legs.
I think that was...
or was that Skinner?
I think that was Skinner, because if I'm not mistaken, that was when did he come back in the lineup? That might have been right after...
You know what goal I'm talking about?
Yes, because it was like this awful stretch that the Oilers had. It might have been game 5 or 6. Or like, I feel like that was when Skinner came back after being sat for 2 games. And you sat there like, oh my, like, this is how this is going to go?
Right.
And then it shifted after that, I think.
So anyway,
like the 2 guys that didn't
like
need
that.
it.
Yeah.
Because it was that. I think it was the same game that Darnell Nurse had the thing with the media where he was very short.
Well, he did that in the playoffs going into game 4.
Oh, you're talking about a different game then?
Yeah, I'm not talking about the play. This was like middle of the season. But it was that play where I'm like, that kind of sums it up right now for him and the way that things... I think it was right when the team was starting to turn things around, where they were in Seattle. And yeah.
Where Bob Stauffer went for the skate?
That might have been... That's just what they needed. Stoff to go for a skate and a tumble. But anyway, it was stuff like that. Like, if he can just play simple, commit to calming himself down.
I just want the physical play back, too.
He hasn't been physical.
Like, if you're not going to be there defensively as you once were type thing, at the very least, make someone pay for getting inside your defensive zone.
Why can't he be... He can be the type of defense. He's not old or anything like that. Like, he can still be a good defenseman, and he can refine his game. He's still in the prime of his career. The physical side I'd like to see too. I'm with you on that.
It's if you're not doing anything else, at least hit someone. Rough someone up. Like, that's to me what the moment he stopped doing that with his game is when it was just like, okay, what are you doing? What are you giving this team?
Yeah.
And that's why this season, like, you just come out in the first couple of games and just be physical. And right off the bat, I think some of your detractors will be like, all right, he's at least bringing something to this team. You found the game?
That game was Jay Woodcroft and Dave Manson's last game.
That one after the Sharks.
4-1.
Yeah, but they knew that they were getting fired anyways. That was when Jay went after the media.
Correct.
Before the game.
And they had a shutout going. Zach Hyman had the natural Hattie in that game. And on the power play, it was Jaden Schwartz trying to put a puck through cross ice. Darnell went down, bounced off his glove, and then his shin pad, and then through Stu Skinner and in. And it was like, of course, that's how it goes in. But the Oilers hung on for the win. It's just stuff like that where I'm like, well, it's not going that well. And I don't know. I have faith in him being an adequate, solid defenseman. Is he going to be the guy that we saw in the 56-game season? Probably not. But if he can find a little bit of that form, settle down, play a simple game, chip in offensively, just be steady for them.
Sobe Kirk in the Paris Jewelers inbox, 780-218-9999. Boys, do you think Nurse gets more flack than Horkov did? Social media makes it worse these days, I guess.
Yes. And Sobe Kirk's right. Like, the social media makes it brutal.
I hated the Horkov one because he always got ripped for being a $7 million player. And I don't care. Like, no fan should ever say how much you're making. It should be the cap it. He was a $5.5 million player. He was being paid, like, the cap is only $5.5. Who cares? The money part of that, that's all Daryl Cates. He's the only one that should care.
Right.
He has to actually sign that check. Mm-hmm. The actual cap it is where I think that you can now be like, well, he's not producing for what he's. The $7 million doesn't impact that season. He's $5.5. Mm-hmm. And that's where I always got mad at the Horkov haters. Like, he's a $7 million player. Yeah, but he's only $5.5 on the cap.
You know what's funny, too? Like, when Lucic was signed, people would always get his contract wrong. They'd say he was a $7 million player. It's like, no, $6 million per year.
Look at the cap hit.
Yeah.
Because that's where it matters as a fan. You're looking at how it works for that season. The actual money part of that.
Well, if you want to look at it like that, Darnell took home 12.5 a couple of years ago.
Don't go there.
I went there.
Don't do that.
I know. I'm sorry. It's just, it happened.
People are going to call him $12 million.
Puckpedia's got it. It's on there.
You know what Puckpedia doesn't have?
What?
They don't have Rick DiPietro on the Islanders.
That's too bad.
When we were talking about that yesterday, I went and because Cap Friendly did. It had it as a cap compliance. It's the money that's there, and Puckpedia doesn't. And I just want to look at. I just wanted to look at Rick DiPietro on their cap hit. The Islanders have to have the history of the most long money paid out because they had Alexei Yashin for a long time.
Yep. Who else did they have? DiPietro now.
Like years wise, it's got to be up there.
Yeah,
maybe I'm missing. Maybe there's other teams. I don't know. Just I remember always wanting to look at Yashin because he was on there for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. Charles Wang special.
G Dog the Hog in the nasty chat. Nurse took 12.5 this past season. Him and Adam Fox, highest paid players in cash this year, or that's coming up this season maybe. Yeah, but the cap hit is what matters.
RCN.
Because the thing is, too, you'd want players to be paid more up front than later because, in theory, for that team that is a little cash-strapped, you could easier to trade a player away when they have less money being owed to them. Actual dollars.
Right.
To send them out. It's easier to move on from that player. So, again, the only person that should care about the actual money is Daryl Cates. What does RCN say?
I call Darnell a $12 million guy.
That's because you're a Calgary Flames fan. You're trying to poke everyone.
Andrew says the funny thing is Ekholm plays like he makes 9.25 and they need Nurse to play like he makes what Ekholm makes to balance things out. That Ekholm deal's phenomenal.
It is. I saw some people ripping Ken Holland or the Oilers for Ken Holland's tenure saying none of his first round picks have panned into anything or they're all traded away. And it's like when you look at most of them, you're like, that's fair or they're gone like Dylan Holloway. But Reed Schaefer's one where it's like you can't critique that one too much because it was part of a deal to bring in Ekholm here.
Right.
So straight up, like there was Barry and some other things, but that's a piece that goes that you could be critical of the rest of the first round picks. Like Ken Holland failed on the rest of them because they're not with the Oilers anymore. But when it comes to Reed Schaefer, it got you Matthias Ekholm.
I have a question. I'm not defending Kenny Holland here and the draft history, especially with the first rounders. Listen, he just lost 2 of them on offer sheets, or the Oilers did. Mm-hmm. And maybe some of it had to do with Kenny Holland's relationship, obviously, with Doug Armstrong, despite the denial from Armstrong last week, but that was funny. Yeah. I'll put this out there to our listeners and viewers, 780-218-9999 or via the nasty chat. How would you look at the Golden Knights and the way they have managed their first round picks?
Okay, what have they got in return for those first round picks would be the question.
Well, we can look at it,
like,
but I just like, how would you evaluate that? Because none of their first rounders are playing on the team.
Yep.
One of them's the captain of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yep.
Cody Glass has bounced around a little bit. I think he finally found a home in Nashville, if I'm not mistaken. I can't even name the other. I'm sure they've traded a few of them.
Well, they also just trade the pick in general. They just trade
That's
the first round pick. Like they don't even have you don't even have a name presented to them because the pick was traded. That's one I need to watch. While the Golden Knights are always competitive, I want to see what the Golden Knights are another 5 years from now and be like, okay, have they done a lot? Have they gone all in through these first few years and it's going to work? But the moment they can't trade away those picks anymore, and the moment because their core is having to go away, or they just going to have to, go away for like a decade because they have to completely rebuild their cupboards because they don't have anything in them. I'll be fascinated long-term looking back on the first, 15, 20 years of the Golden Knights history to be like, okay, they sacrificed the first 10 in a sense.
Right.
How did the next 10 go for? But also the one argument is they got a cup out of it at least.
And they've been to 3 conference finals.
2 appearances in the cup final.
Yes.
Including the first year.
Correct. Okay, so I have the draft history. You want it?
Go for it.
First, we're sticking with first rounders here. Cody Glass, 6th overall in 2017. Nick Suzuki, I just mentioned, 13th overall in 2017. Eric Brandstrom, now with Ottawa, if I'm not mistaken now. He went 15th overall. They also took Nick Hague, 34th. Jake Lecision. And then they
Brandstrom's with Colorado now.
Then you go to 2019, Peyton Krebs, now with Buffalo.
Peyton Krebs,
I believe.
But that was
17th
the Jack
overall.
Eichel deal?
I think so. Him and Tuck. Was it?
I'm just looking up right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Tuck and Krebs.
Okay.
Plus a first and a second.
Right. In 2020, the Golden Knights took Brendan Brisson, who I think made his NHL debut last season. Also scored. He was in the farm system heading into that. They had Zachary Dean taken 30th overall in 2021. Not sure where he's at. Gatineau last year.
Zach's to St. Louis. He said it very quietly.
Zachary Dean's in St. Louis?
No, he just said... Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
When you said one of the names, I heard him just say St. Louis.
That would be correct. Played 9 games last year for the Blues. So he's gone. They did not have a first rounder in 2022. 2023, they took David Edstrom. They only had 4 picks in 2023. They had 4 picks in 2024, and they took Trevor Connolly out of Tri-Cities. And then they had a 3rd rounder, a 6th rounder, and a 7th rounder. So how would you evaluate the Golden Knights and the way that they've handled their first rounds in the years that they've been in the NHL? Because, and again, I'm not defending Ken Holland and his first round picks or anything like that. I'm just saying, does it change your perspective?
But what did you get in return for them is the big question.
Okay. And that's won a Stanley Cup.
They won a Stanley Cup. Whereas it's like, okay, so Dylan Holloway and his Philip Roberts to 2nd and 3rd. I guess we're going to have to see what those turn into.
And you save cap space.
Yes.
Which we've learned is a valuable asset, obviously.
So we have to see how the Oilers play. So with those 2, but right now it's a 2nd and 3rd for Broberg and Holloway. So you didn't get anything.
But you've been to a Stanley Cup final, Game 7. You've been to a conference final, and you've been to the second round. I know, it's not a cup.
It's not a cup.
And you get swept the year before.
That's where
by Winnipeg.
I've always remember having this conversation around Game 7, and I don't want to go back to Game 7 too much because it hurts.
It was only 2 months ago.
I know, but it's that Game 7 could hurt more than I think 06, but only time will tell. Because if the Oilers ultimately never win a cup, I think that one hurts more because it also then means McDavid and Leon never won a cup here.
Yeah, I get that. Of course.
But you go win this year, it's who cares? You got your cup. You needed that to go get your cup.
Do you think, hypothetically, if they were to win a Stanley Cup this upcoming season, all that noise about asset management, first rounders, does it go away? Or do you think you still get the sticklers?
I think that
was they should have won 3 by now.
Yeah, you're going to have, I remember Low Tide ranting about that on 1260 for a while. There'll always be a couple of people that will just hit them like, this would have been the 3rd.
Right.
This should have been the 3rd. And it's like, okay, there's no guarantee. To me, it's, if they ultimately go win the cup, you should just be happy that they won the cup. I believe in butterfly effect. if they go win a cup in the past, maybe they don't win this cup. Maybe that team needs to be broken up because we've seen sometimes with cups, team players want to go away and be like, okay, I got my cup. Now I'm going to go get my money.
Cash in.
So you might not be able to actually rebuild that team or keep that team together or keep a lot of that. They might walk away. So I think most people will be just happy that they finally got that cup and to be like everything that happened led to this. There will be those that some though they'll sit yeah, should have been 2. Should have been 3.
Valid.
And I don't like that.
The Gourdfather texting in says, I trade 7 years of first rounders for a cup in the same time.
Yeah.
Comparing it to
I rattled Trev a little bit last week. I can't remember who we were talking with on the Hangout, which day it was. But I threw out there that I've had this conversation in the past. If the Oilers won the cup in 2006, but that means you don't get Connor McDavid as a franchise, would you accept that? But knowing that if you get, like, there's no guarantee you win a cup with Connor McDavid, but he might go win cups. Like, what we know right now is there are still no cups, but he still might go win a couple of cups. But would you give up having Connor McDavid as part of this franchise if this team won in 2006? And he thought no one would take the cup in 2006. And it's like, surprisingly, there's a lot of people that would take the cup in 2006. And there was like, I think 4 or 5 of the messages, it was like near the end of the show, that came in the nasty chat, was like, no, I'd take the cup.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about. It's the cup. So, and I think I had to explain to him, like, he was 8 at the time, and he's like, wasn't a rabid Oiler fan. I was like, exactly. That's why you don't care about that cup as much. For the rabid, now he's that fan, so he would, if he'd want that cup or whatever. But for those people that were the fan of that 2006 team, how unlikely it was, the story of it all. There's a lot of people that would give up what has come since.
Right.
Knowing that they got that 6th Stanley Cup as a franchise in 2006 with that team.
And you never know. I mean, we've seen teams absolutely spiral into a world of hurt in that time. Buffalo being one of them. At the time the Oilers went to the Stanley Cup final in 2006, Buffalo was one of the best teams in the NHL.
They were conference finalists. They're the team that lost to the Hurricanes.
That's right.
In Game 7.
And they should mathematically have
no, they've had playoffs.
I think
since.
they had a couple more when they had the Buffa Slug jersey.
Oh yeah.
They went to the playoffs a couple of times. They still had good teams then. I think like 2009, 2010.
Yes. So that
2009.
The next year they got back to the conference finals. Yeah. They lost to the Sens, missed the playoffs twice, then lost in the first round for 2 years, and then it's did not qualify. And
in 2015, they had the best odds to win the draft lottery. It just didn't happen.
They're at 13 years.
Yeah. I think that's the new record. Because I did Buffalo Radio earlier this season, and they reminded everyone of the decade of darkness here. And then they're like, and it's only gotten worse in Buffalo because it's been surpassed.
That's 15 of 17 years. You go prior to that, they made the playoffs for those 2 years. The 3 years before the lockout, they missed it 3 straight years. You go through since 2001 2 year, they've only made the playoffs 5 times. Yet they have more playoff series wins than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Probably, I think.
Well, yeah.
I'd have to look pre-lockout in those 3 years.
Finals.
In those 3 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
The Leafs went to the conference final against Carolina in 2002.
So that's at least 2 series wins.
Right. Because when Chris Joseph got there, they got better.
So they won 1 series a couple years ago where they were great in that handshake line. No, that was the year before that. They were great in the handshake line. My apologies. Said, right? They were amazing in the handshake line.
That's good.
So I said I want to match the same years. So the first time they missed the playoffs because they had a stretch of playoffs a lot. Like from 1987-88 season through to 2000-2001 season, they missed the playoffs once. So 2001-2002 is the first year they missed the playoffs and then had gone on this run. Leafs won 2 series that year. They won a series in 03-04, and then they won the series a couple years ago, so they have 4. The Sabres, in their 4 appearances, have won 4. They have the exact same amount as the Toronto Maple Leafs in that time. And they've missed the playoffs 18 of 22 years, I think it is. Wow, Toronto, you're awful. This is the Oil Stream presented by Boston Pizza. It is still summer. Actually, next week's going to be beautiful. This weekend's going to be beautiful. Like Monday's supposed to be like 30 degrees. If you're looking for something to do, any occasion is a BP patio occasion. Hop onto a BP's patio today to try their summer menu. Fresh each drinks to fuel all your summer patio hangs. Go to your local Boston Pizza, which includes the summer pesto chicken pizza, which is delicious. Absolutely delicious.
Shout out to Curtis and the crew at Boston Pizza Westgate, right across the street from West Edmonton Mall, carrying a 6 o'clocker lager now in the can form.
There you go. Mm-hmm. That's where I had that chicken pesto pizza.
And they did amazing. A new reno there.
When?
Just recently.
Oh.
Yeah, they gave it a nice little refresh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here on the Oil Stream on your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. That is Edmonton Sports Talk. I do want to quickly mention the ESTYs. September 17th.
Yes.
Tickets still available, $10. Message me, Matt at EdmontonSportsTalk.com. I'll tell you about the details of how to pay. Then I'll send you your ticket. Tickets are moving quite nicely. We're 2.5 weeks away. Closing, like I think we could get maybe to 200 people in that place.
That's
which is
awesome.
Just ridiculous. 200 people on a Tuesday night at the Metro to honor the first year of Edmonton Sports Talk and hand out some awards.
And dress up really, really nice.
Yeah, next week I got to go to try to figure out what I'm going to do with that. The Nasty Club annual members, you got an email a couple days ago from me. Speaking of emails, Johnny Alberta in the Nasty chat earlier today, he also said, I always appreciate your detailed emails, Matt. I feel thoroughly briefed. When I do send Nasty Club members emails, they are, he sent that, they're all long. And they're detailed.
Are they AI generated?
They are not. They are not. I've never used an AI generator for one of those.
Good.
Maybe I'll send one in Trump voice. I'll email that one because I had fun with that on the Hangout yesterday. But I sent them a message a couple days ago saying the voting's coming. I sent it to the staff yesterday just to go for a once over. Yes. Dusty did give it the once over. Zach did as well, and it all looks good to go. So later today, at some point, keep an eye on your inbox for the Nasty Club annual members because the Google Forms link will be sent to you, and you will get a chance to vote for up to 4 choices for each of our categories to whittle down our nominees to finalists. So we can have a list of finalists. I'm probably going to do it till next Thursday.
Nice. So
it'll be just under a week of voting will be allowed. I will just shut it off at some point because I got to get the finalists done, and then I got to go to my panelists. It's at 4 right now. I will go to my panelists, who will then whittle down the 4 finalists to our winners of each categories. So then on September 17th, we can hand out those ESTYs. I'm waiting for the trophies to arrive. They've been ordered. The proofs came. I approved them. They look great. I just need to see them in person now. I want them in my possession. I got to build the presentation. I got to figure out whose hand. There's a lot still to do for this, but it's going to be a fun, enjoyable night. Clausen's coming.
I saw that.
He just told me.
I'm very excited. Great to see him today. And I missed the wrap at the end of the hangout.
Yeah, so I never mentioned it on air because I was waiting for it, but he brought it up. He was going to do a rap for the intro of the Green and Gold Kickoff Show. He sent me the lyrics for it. He just hasn't had time to record it. So today he actually voiced it. So if anyone wants to go to the very end of the hangout, it became it's now a final nomination for the ESTYs. It got added late. It got put in there. Zach and Dusty, they voted actually. I know that because I can see that they voted. They didn't get a chance. They missed out. You could, I think, go back and maybe edit it if you want to. But they missed out on voting for that one. But Josh Clausen comes in under the wire to now have 3 nominations within live performance.
He's a talented man. And if you didn't hear about it, probably didn't, it was seen in the EST studios. Zach Decum and Josh made peace. It was beautiful. I think I saw Joaquin Gage with a tear in his eye.
No matter, Clausen's too nice of a guy.
He's the best.
He couldn't do an actual real rap like war with someone.
Well,
he's too kind to someone.
He clapped back at Zach Decum.
Yeah, but he's not going to let a beef. He's going to want to quash beefs because he's too nice.
He's too nice.
He's too kind of an individual. To Brandon saying, should I switch? What about monthly members? There will be annual membership opening come October again. That is closed, but there were the actual benefits of being the annual members, and this was one of those. So there is more to come with the bonus content throughout the next year 2 of Edmonton Sports Talk. But something like this will be with the annual members this year. That's how it will go.
It's good. I threw out the question earlier in the show, like, how would you evaluate the Golden Knights and the way they've handled their first-round picks? We went over all of them. Hampton Steve texted in, said, my take on the Vegas draft history is that it's a mixed bag. Glass became Nolan Patrick, fail. Suzuki became Pacioretty, fail. Brandstrom became Stone, big win. Krebs became Eichel, big win. Dean became Barbashev, win. Edstrom became Hurdle, TBD. I agree with like Hampton Steve's take on that. The only one is Pacioretty was good as a Golden Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Suzuki is now the captain of the Habs, and Suzuki should have a long and prosperous career, but they got a lot out of Pacioretty in a couple of years.
What do you make about the idea that Pacioretty might go to the Leafs?
Great.
As a ex-Hab?
Whatever.
Okay. I always find those weird stuff.
Like Kirk Muller did it. I remember.
Between those two teams?
Yeah, Kirk Muller went to the... Thomas Kaberle went to the Habs. Right? There's been a few, like...
It does happen with...
Sergei Berezin went to the...
Like, it's not as weird, but it does happen a little bit with the Leafs and the Sens. It's just... He was a Hab. And now you're going to be potentially Toronto Maple Leafs. It just doesn't sit right.
You're forgetting one longtime Montreal Canadian.
Mike Johnson.
Tomasz Plekanec.
Plekanec. Yeah, that's right. Good point. That was weird seeing him as a Maple Leaf. There's been a few like that.
It's like the hockey sweater. You can only have one. Put the other one up. Pray for moths to come.
It was a 6-team league when the hockey sweater came out. Great
for
story.
moths to eat up that jersey.
That's right.
I would also rather have a Habs jersey than a Leafs jersey. Like,
if
the Leafs are a good look.
The two, I'd go Habs.
The Leafs are a good look. I'll give them credit for that. I just prefer the red over the blue. Straight up.
Classic. Doug Gilmour, says Library Pat, went to the Habs. That's right. It has happened over the years, especially in the 6-team league back in the day.
There was no real free agency, was there? I forgot, because free agency kind of came in like the 80s.
Yeah.
So I don't know how players moved as much back in those days.
It's evolved.
I'd have to read on that. There are those teams that are just weird. Like when Johnny Damon went to the Yankees and he won a World Series with the Yankees, it was weird to a degree because he was a Red Sox.
Right.
To go between those two teams, it's just awkward.
Oh, here's a good one. Waddy in Cloverdale says Dougie Gilmour. He reiterates what Library Pat said. And then Shane Corson.
Oh.
Won a cup in 93 with the Habs. And then was prominently a Toronto Maple Leaf after that. Darcy Tucker.
Tucker played for the Habs?
That's where he started. Habs, Lightning, Leafs. And then Avs, I think he finished up with.
No way. Look at that. Drafted 151st overall in 1993.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Right?
You're right on the Avs, too. Nailed that entire history.
Thank you.
Do you know where he played his WHL? Can you add that one in?
Was it Kamloops?
Yes.
Boom.
You're missing now one team on his list. The American Hockey League team. Can you nail that one? If you get this one, I will be so stunned, Tommy.
That would have been in his Habs years. Fredericton.
No way. You nailed it. Fredericton Canadians. Yeah. You just nailed the entire career of Darcy Tucker. Blazers, Fredericton Canadians, Lightning, Leafs, Avs. Mr. Darcy Tucker over here.
Nerd alert.
Well done. I was not expecting the Fredericton Canadians that you would have got that one.
There used to be a show on TSN, and it was with Gord Stellick, and it was like an AHL report or a farm team report, and I would watch it, and I'd be like, what teams are these? I was like 7 or 8.
They haven't played since 98 and 98, 99.
Yeah, but I would watch that show every weekend. I'm like, what? That looks like the Oilers. Who are those guys? And it was the farm team, and they were in Cape Breton. There's a lot of Maritimes teams back.
This is the team that moved to Hamilton and became the Bulldogs.
Yeah. And the Oilers split with the Habs. Claude Julien was actually hired by the Oilers to coach the Hamilton Bulldogs, the farm team. And then the Habs asked for permission from the Oilers to hire Claude Julien, and they said yes. And then he became a longtime, very successful NHL coach.
I'm really impressed by you right now. Like, well done.
Thanks, man.
Well done. Good on you. There's Tom Gazzola. If you need that Darcy Tucker trivia, there's only one place to go. Not even Darcy Tucker. It's Tom Gazzola. Portions of this hour of the Oil Stream are brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. They got chicken sandwich deal.
Yeah, they do.
What do they say on their website? Love our chicken sandwich. How about 2?
How much?
2 for $12.
That's actually a pretty good price.
That's an amazing price. 2 classic chicken sandwiches just for $12, available in store or through the Popeyes app or on popeyeschicken.ca. It's from this week through until September 8th, so it's a very limited time. But 2 Popeyes classic chicken sandwiches for just $12. People always be like, "Oh, things are expensive right now. Fast food's expensive."
Yeah.
2 for $6 for those chicken sandwiches are massive.
You get a good
the chicken
portion.
you get on them
Yes.
are huge. I had one last week.
Yes.
Massive. 2 for $12.
Very good.
You got to get a Popeyes. There you go. That's it's an amazing deal.
It's a good deal. And listen, hey, this is the last show kind of before the unofficial end of the summer.
Yeah, well, we've got VIP Golf Show on Sunday.
Yeah.
From 8 until 10, Murray McCourt, Curtis Stock.
I should have said last Oil Stream before.
Yeah, but Jay and I have
wrap
got
up.
the Green and Gold kickoff show, 3 o'clock, Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. Come join us. We also got the post-game show.
Yes.
Those, I guess, well, they end year 1 of Edmonton Sports Talk.
Yeah, good way
year
to
2
put it.
starts on the Tuesday. So, but for live Monday through Friday programming, this is it. This is in a couple minutes, I will be saying, Nielsen Show replay coming up next.
Right.
Next Wednesday, when the next Oil Stream comes up, and Dusty's here with you, he won't be saying coming up next. It's the replay of the Nielsen Show, and that it's not. It's going to be up next. It's ESTY Afternoons with Hernan and Joaquin, and then they're going to be like up next. It's the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne.
I saw Reed Wilkins print something out.
So like it's.
Just now.
This is somewhat the wrap almost of year 1. We're almost through it. Again, Josh Clausen coming in under the wire for nominations for ESTYs.
Love it.
Coming in under everything starting Tuesday. It's for the next year's ESTYs.
I have detailed emails that I've received from you that I need to attend to as soon as this show ends.
For next year.
For next year, yes.
It's all coming.
Some great texts at the end. Brandon in the inbox. Move over, Stoff, stump the Paisan. Stoff's still the king. Him and Jack go back and forth, and it's wild because those two are walking, talking encyclopedias. Martin says Tommy currently has Darcy Tucker bed sheets and blankets on his bed. All right, Martin. And then Fat Dan says, what is this? Special guest appearance by Stoff's son. Bob's, again, man, some days I would have he would throw out trivia, like we'd be on a bus ride to the rink.
He try to stump you?
And I'd get it.
And that would
how do you
annoy
know?
him.
I'm like, well,
That would annoy him.
I think he was genuinely impressed.
I'll say this. Bob doesn't know the history of Darcy Tucker's career.
I guarantee you he does. I swear.
Well, it's only one person. It's only one person.
Swear to
It's Tom
God.
Gazzola. He
Yeah.
proved it today.
Yeah.
Let's see you do that today, Bob.
Oh, he will. He'll own it. He will.
Yeah, because
own
he's
it.
listening and he heard.
Yeah. Hello, Bob. Anyway, to end the show, again, reiterate, tragic, horrible,
Yes.
super sad day in the hockey world. And that's what I was going to say, too. We saw some texts coming in. Here's another thing. You can't appease everybody and with something as awful as the news about Johnny Gaudreau and his brother. And we had people like texting in earlier, like, what about, are we going to hear about a signing? We're going to hear about Draisaitl news this weekend. Listen, guys, I don't think that stuff matters right now. When the time is appropriate for it to, and that just comes back to you can't please everybody, and the focus is obviously on the Gaudreau family. So
100%.
Yeah.
All the sympathy goes to them. It's
Yes.
a rough time for the family. There was supposed to be a very joyous weekend for them, celebrating love, but instead mourning the passing of 2 individuals. Johnny Gaudreau passing at the age of 31, Matthew at the age of 29. Just will be very, very tough for that family moving forward for, I don't know, maybe forever. I don't know how easy it is to get over that if you ever do. sympathies, hearts all go out to the Gaudreau family. That is it, though, for the Oil Stream today on this Friday, presented by Boston Pizza. Up next on our audio stream, it is the Nielsen Show replay for one more time at this time slot. As next week on Tuesday, it's year 2 of Edmonton Sports Talk. Starts with Tommy and Gager in the morning.
Yeah.
Welcome to year 2.
4 a.m. comes quick.
But thanks to everyone for tuning in today. Zach, great job behind the camera. He's off next week, so enjoy that. To everyone, have a great Labor Day long weekend. It's a great time in the Canadian Football League. Join us at Central Casino if you can on Monday. But if not, we will talk to you on Tuesday. On behalf of Tommy, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the Oil Stream right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton Sports. Nielsen Show replay coming up next. I will talk with you on Monday.